Hi everybody. Um, what I'm going to concentrate today on is something I spoke about before, and that is your heart rate. And I want to sort of explain heart rate zones because I think it is very, very important in heart disease. And if you've just suffered a heart attack or heart disease runs in your family, and you just want a few things explained to you. I had a heart attack 13 years ago, and I'm sure I bore you because I tell you this every time if you're watching my videos on a constant basis, but it's just so you know why I'm making this channel. I'm not a doctor, so there's a disclaimer that my information isn't by a qualified physician, but I'm qualified to talk about something that has happened to myself and from my own experience. And I'd like to do that because I'd like to think that my advice may help someone that's watching this, is worried about their heart rate, and they just want a bit of advice. Well, I mean, the heart rate zones explained as simple is, your resting heart rate, depending on your age. If you're sort of between 40 and my age, I'm 66, and a good resting heart rate should be in the 60s. Now, you can have too high a heart rate and you have too low a heart rate. Too low a heart rate is, I think it's called tachycardia or something like that there. And if your heart rate sort of drops to a regular basis, say in the 50s or something like that, and you're not an athlete, you're sort of like an older person, you'll find if your heart rate drops down to sort of the lower 50s, it's probably a sign, well, there's no probably, it's a sign that your blood isn't pumping properly. And if you end up having a low heart rate like that, you should go to the doctor, because you may end up sort of going to the hospital and even getting a pacemaker, so that would set your heart rate to be at a regular beat. Because your heart rate, as well as not being high, your heart rate shouldn't be low, because the low blood pressure, the low heart rate in the 50s, that is what it would be a sign of. So if you have a low heart rate sort of in the sort of 50s and you're not an athlete, you're sort of like a person in your 60s or 50s, do see your doctor, get a bit of medical advice on that. If you're going out for a walk or something like that, as soon as you sort of start your walk, or even now, my heart rate is 72, all right? My heart rate is usually about 65 if I'm sitting back watching a movie or something like that there. But I tell you what, right? Now, if I get up and I was to walk about the room, my heart rate would go up into the 80s. If I was to go for my nightly walk, which I'll go for later on, my heart rate will get up to about 120. But that's fine. The way you do your heart rate is you take the figure 220 and you take away your age, and that's basically what your heart rate should not go over. It's a mathematical thing. So if you're 60, you take it away from the 220. So what is it? 66, 34, 134? I could be wrong. No, sorry, 154. But anyway, whenever I do go out for my walk, I usually find that my heartbeat, if I'm quite fit, will sort of stay in the 90s, even whenever I'm going for a strenuous walk. If I haven't been for a walk in a good while, then it's different. My heart rate will go up higher. The thing about heart rate is, it can tell you whenever you're ill or something is working on you. It's like, I think I told you in previous videos, I had COVID at Christmas, and whenever I took COVID, I was all shivery, temperature, put a duvet over me, and I still felt freezing. And I always wore my Fitbit is brilliant. See a Fitbit or smartwatch, if you haven't got one, get one, because it gives you your heartbeat and every other detail. So what I did was I looked at my heartbeat, and I noticed it was 135. Now that scared me right away. My heart rate, resting heart rate shouldn't be 135. But when I took the shivering and all, and I had a fever, I knew something was wrong with my health. So I took, medicine, and then went to bed, hoping the next day I would feel better. But I didn't, and my temperature was still high. My temperature didn't start to come down until the third day, and it came down to about 115. and then 100, and then after about 5 days, he was back down to normal. But that was the COVID. COVID, I've actually checked it up anyway. I Googled it like everyone else. You Google things. So I Googled it and I noticed that, a lot of people who had, COVID, their heart rates would go up high. That's how I knew. For me, that could have just been a cold or a flu. If I didn't have the Fitbit on, I wouldn't even have known. I had no symptoms. I didn't have a headache, or I wasn't breathless or anything like that. Did not know that my heart rate was as high as 135. But that was your body telling you that something was wrong with your body, because with COVID working and sort of taking it out of your body, your heart was having to pump that bit quicker to sort of help fight the COVID, basically, So heart rate is a very important thing. You want it to be a resting heart rate of about 60s. If you're sort of just up and walking about. Now, I'm talking about someone from the age of 45 up till about 80. Young people, sort of 9 years old till about 19, their heart rate would be about 100 and so on, playing about and even resting, because they're young, their veins, everything's pumping, But, as you get to my age, your heart rate's going to go down anyway. So with me, the heart rate's like 65. It's not because I'm fit. A real good athlete, some of them, their heart rate can be down as low as 40. But for someone like me, the resting heartbeat should be in the 60 zone. Just walking about the house normally, it should be in the 72 to sort of 80 zone. Going out for a walk at night, it should be in the zones round about 90 to 120. If you're exercising in the gym, it could sort of go from between 100 to 140 odds. But they're the normal zones for my body. They're not the normal zones for your body. Everybody is different. That's why I'm telling you, if you have a Fitbit or get yourself a smartwatch, keep a record of your heart rate. Say from the morning. Don't get obsessed by it. Trust me, I got obsessed by my blood pressure monitor, and it was the worst 4 weeks of my life, and I got told off by everybody because all you heard was the buzzing of the blood pressure every time my blood pressure was high or low. If it fluctuates between 10 or 15, that's no big deal, If your blood pressure should be normally 66 while you're lying back relaxing watching a movie, then it's sitting at 80. Nothing to worry about. But if you're sitting back relaxing and watching a movie and your heart rate is like 120, that's not right. There's something wrong. There's like maybe an illness or something working in you. But if you have that and you have the blood pressure machine, if your heart rate was to go up to about 130 and you checked your blood pressure and your blood pressure was like 200 over 100, I would phone an ambulance. I did phone an ambulance. They brought me into the hospital, kept me in for like 5 hours and gave me some medication until my blood pressure and whatnot came down, and then I was sent home. But I'm just basically making this video on the heart rate zones because I think it is important to know your body. The saying the silent killer, it is true. It is a silent killer, blood pressure. Heart rate is quite similar. If I was to turn around you right now and say, what's your heart rate? Could you give me an answer? Yeah, well, I can give you an answer, but my heart rate right now is 85. So see, there you are. It's jumped 10, and do I look any different? No, there's no difference at all, because that's the way the heart rate would go. You only really worry whenever there's something bad happening. And the thing that proved it to me more than anything was taking COVID. Because I wouldn't even have guessed I had COVID. I would have thought it was the flu. I googled at the time high heart rate and temperature and whatnot and things like that, and then that's when it mentioned COVID. So I knew right away when I had a heart rate of 135, something was wrong, especially when that heart rate stayed high for 3 to 4 days. That was my body fighting off COVID, and that's why my heart rate increased. The heart rate increased because the blood was pumping more and your body was fighting harder to fight off the COVID. And, well, I'm still here, so it done the job. Get to know your heart rate. If you've sort of been to the hospital, had a heart attack, and you know, as years go on, we're all in there, you know. Anybody that's probably watching this has had a heart attack, had a stent, you know, I don't know what other operation, triple bypass, but we're all fighting heart disease. We're all staying alive, a bit like the old John Travolta song. But knowing those heart rate zones, I really cannot emphasize how important knowing those heart rate zones are, because they could save your life. Get to know your body, get to know your heart rate zones. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. I'm on your Facebook group and you allow me to post the videos to your group. Thank you very much. And thanks anybody for commenting. If you have a YouTube account, I would appreciate it if you would maybe subscribe to my channel and hit the wee bell so you get the notifications. And just let me know what you think of my channel. My main aim is to engage with people that have had heart attacks. Also to engage with people who haven't had a heart attack and they want to know how to avoid a heart attack. Now that we're actually talking about the heart rates, I think I'll make my next video how to exercise and how to live a lifestyle that you can have a really good heart rate, and we'll see how we're doing that. So I'll talk to you tomorrow. Thank you very much for watching. You have been brilliant. Anyone who watches my channel on a regular basis, I appreciate it. You are stars. Take care.